All right, I think we're ready to kick off. So, good morning from a lovely and rainy Sydney. I was saying to Jacques earlier, my notes originally said sunny, and I think I jinxed it because we've had some beautiful days. But it's great to even have some rain here. So, really beautiful morning. Welcome to everyone joining from across Australia, New Zealand, the wider APAC region, and from such a diverse range of organisations in the private and public sectors. Thank you for taking some of your valuable time to spend with us today. We really appreciate it. So just some very quick housekeeping as we start. So please, we welcome you to ask questions as we go along. If you could do that by just dropping into the Q&A. Now, for those of you familiar with Google Meet, it's not the normal chat button. You'll see here there's the triangle shape on the bottom right with the square and the circle. If you click on that and you open it, then it'll show you the Q&A section. Please feel free to drop in there. We've got the amazing Julia and Patty here who are going to be looking out for those questions and playing them back to us. So please feel free to bring them through. Excellent. So by way of introductions, I'll start with myself. My name is Charles Enner. I'm a near 25-year veteran in the IT industry. So starting all the way back in software delivery and modernization consulting, later on, without hiding my grey or showing my grey too much, working on traditional code, legacy modernization in Africa from the early 2000s, across multiple industries, financial services, through to large courier businesses across the continent and even diamond exchange businesses. After that, I spent about 6 years at KPMG, where amongst other things, we were looking at strategic sourcing advisory for large customers that are often on the journey around selecting, implementing, and governing replacement approaches. And there, I mean, everything from helping to select new stock exchange bourses, and that's literally the software that runs stock exchanges, through to modernizing predictive analytics models. And then very lucky for the last 10 years to have been in the OutSystems ecosystem for about 5.5 years across Africa, and now for the last 4.5 years with Phoenix DX as Principal Solution Architect. So great to be speaking to you today. Over to Jacques.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Jacques van der Merwe. I'm coming to you from sunny Brisbane. I'm a senior solution architect working alongside Charles for the last 2.5 years at Phoenix DX. I also have about 25 years experience in IT, working on enterprise solutions across pretty much all industries. Also have a traditional coding background, and I worked for an international software vendor. I have an MBA degree that helps me assist senior leaders to develop modernization approaches to provide critical business outcomes. So yeah, that's me.
Perfect. Thanks so much. So let's jump straight into it. And we wanted to start with a simple question. Who would not want to live here? So take a look at the picture, take it in. All right, so obviously this is a beautiful home, an amazing architecture, incredible location, impeccable finishes. That's a pretty compelling place to want to be. And I think as we talk about legacy modernization and what we experience with leaders in businesses nowadays, and often emotionally where they want to be, is really a sense of, there's really a lot of great potential on what we could have for our organizations and back to our systems. The reality that a lot of us are facing is that we feel like we can only keep living here. Okay, now only is not a bad thing, all right? So in Australia, having your family home is the Australian dream, or in a great apartment block, or even in an off-plan house. Now, for 99% of us, those are good places to live. Now, the question is, why are we not then living in our dream home, and why are we not getting exactly what we want? So often this is about not breaking the bank, and it's also about not distracting ourselves from other things that are important in our lives. So about cost and about time. So I want to bring this back to the legacy modernization challenge that I think a lot of us face as businesses, public or private sector. So the typical problems are it either takes too long, to replace a legacy system that your company has usually invested so much in and taken a long time to build and evolve. And you'll see as we talk over the next 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes, some of our customers that spent 25 years building out their legacy. Just because it's legacy in some senses doesn't mean it's not still hugely valuable to the business and that there's not a lot of effort in there. It isn't always just about moving the old system into a new technology, and we'll talk about that in a moment. It's often about innovating as well. And you talk about modernization, it's got different lenses to it. Really, this is also about improving experiences, reviewing processes, and then beyond all that, having to manage the change inside the organization. It's very risky, it's time consuming, it requires effort. Another point to consider is that the resources, the team, the money that you're using to keep the lights on inside your current house, inside your current system, are usually the ones that you need when you're focusing on the future as well. And you can't just reallocate those and switch it off when you're implementing a new system in parallel. So trying to strike that balance between how do we keep the current going while we look into the future is always a challenge. And a final challenge we see is, while there are really amazing off-the-shelf and pre-built solutions nowadays, and we'll talk about that as a real viable solution, often it's not a complete solution that solves all of your business problems. So how do we move that forward?
So, as you might be aware, there are many ways to solve this problem. But today we really want to talk about three high-level approaches to the modernization. We'll touch on how you can do it better and faster with AI, being a buzzword in today's world. And then we'll just wrap it up with three real-life stories where it worked successfully in the past. So let's get straight onto that. From a high level, we see three basic approaches. Gartner identifies 7 ways to modernize. However, these three that we feel is the most important and the topics that we want to cover for today. So first of all, refactoring. It's fixing the stuff that's broken. You can see in the picture, putting a new facade on an old house, restructure and optimize the existing code. But not the core behavior of the application. We remove that technical debt, improve the non-functional attributes. Refactoring, that's what it brings to the table. An alternative might be to rebuild. And by rebuild, we mean renovating or adding a room to that house, redesign or rewrite the application components from scratch while preserving the scope of that specifications. Think of it as a renovating a bathroom. We might take out the old asbestos, but we replace it with new gyprock. However, the wall stays where it is. The layout of the bathroom might be the same, but it's still a bathroom. The toilet and the basin is in the same place. So just renovating or adding to what is there. And then the third approach is replacing it, tearing it down completely and build something brand new, replace it altogether, considering new requirements and new needs that might arise. So, like I said, there's 7 broad approaches to this. They fall into 2 categories: extending the life of what you have, or replacing with something new. But the question remains: what is the best approach? How do we know which one is right for our company? We will not be delving into these 7 items today, but we will try and answer the question as to how to get to the best outcome. Over to you, Charles.
Thank you. So this is great, and some of you might go, "All right, great. We've heard about these approaches before. We might have lived these approaches before." Excellent. So what is the additional proposition here? What are we really seeing where things are getting exciting nowadays, even more so? So again, I want to put the proposition that there is an even better way nowadays to help you do this. So if we take a look at the screen, and I have to be honest, I love this picture. So just take a look at it. And let's ask the question: what if your builder that's coming in to either do the renovation or the rebuild or the fix-up, what if they could do it in half the time with lower costs and using proven tools and proven approaches enhanced by AI? That's really the question here. and that's what we're here to talk about. So the modernization journeys that we talk about, and I don't want to dive into this too much because I think it'll be quite sensible to all of you, but there are really 2 points I want to bring out here. It always starts with a little bit of analysis. Understand where you're at, understand what your options are, understand how you want to move forward, and that will then inform you on the approaches that you use. And the one thing I want to make clear is that it's often not just about using one or the other. You find what's appropriate as you go along. The reason I'm bringing this up and where we've really seen success is when you talk about quick win while you're going on your way to maybe doing a full modernization of a system. What you want to do is decouple the speed with which you're adding value back to your business from the speed and the natural rigor and focus that you need to bring when you're doing replacement of core systems or 25-year legacy. And the ability to do this nowadays on a trusted platform that already has a proven track record, but accelerated, governed, and enhanced with AI, not just in the build aspects, but across the full plan, build, run, and improve life cycle, is really where we're seeing this ability to take a more modular approach to modernization journey and bring it down from, and again, we'll speak about this in a moment, from years, and this is years with modern tools, don't get me wrong, down to months instead. And that's really the exciting part over here. All right, so we're going to start with a first part of, because we're all here and interested in the AI side, we do want to talk about, and you'll know from the OutSystems perspective, the platform that we hear, one of the elements of AI that are really interesting and powerful in helping customers to get moving quickly and start this legacy modernization journey. We're going to show you a quick 1-minute video, and then for sure, look out for more as we go along around the AI capabilities. Excellent. So again, supporting the developer, obviously that's a big topic at the moment from an AI perspective, and really keen to talk about that more. But again, that it's not just about building, it's about the full life cycle, and that's how you achieve some of these gains. So let me hand over to Jacques as we talk to you about some real stories.
Yeah, sure. So we talk about accelerating this, doing it in half the time. What it took for the 3 use cases that we want to talk about today, or 3 examples. The first example is the GPT group. They did a refactor of their applications in about 6 weeks. We're going to talk about a national regulator. They did a rebuild in about 6 months. And you might be familiar with Coates Hire. Some people know them as. They did an entire ERP replacement in about 12 months. So let's jump into the first one, Charles.
Perfect. So I'll take the first one. Thank you. So GPT, I always chuckle when I see it a bit because, I mean, GPT is a massive ASX listed organization, over $20 billion market cap in there. But how names can move. So nowadays, I think Chat GPT, and we always have to tell people, no, it's not Chat GPT. It's GPT, the massive property group. So what we're talking about here is a real estate investment trust. A lot of you are familiar with that. They own shopping centers, they own office buildings that are rented out. So really a company that's focused on a lot of key information and work that needs to be done, not just internally within their core processes, but because they deploy physical assets, like properties that are being rented out, really making sure that they've got a great experience all the way out there. So in this case that we want to talk about, and now I'm going to add on a little bit more to it at the end, was focusing on something that seems quite simple and should be easy to do, but really about procurement process. So when we're talking about procurement process, it's imagine you're a shopping center manager or the property manager around there, and you need to repair a lift, or you need to replace a window in the common area, or there's some general kind of invoice that needs to be raised, supply that needs to be brought in. Great. I mean, that's part of what you considered needing to be there for a normal ERP. The challenge that GPT was facing here is actually that they've taken a best of breed approach in buying their core systems, which is a good thing to do. There's nothing wrong with going off the shelf for the big core stuff, which was SAP in this case. Excellent, a rich system that does what it does well. The challenge they were facing is, how do we make this work for these shopping center managers that don't necessarily have the time or the physical space set up to go and capture all this information and drive it through. So they're trying to bring a better experience. They'd actually taken a first try at this. So this again was about refactoring. You had a good solid house in the middle. You wanted to add a little bit of a room on, which is allowing the people out in the field to do what they need to do. They'd started building it with SAP personas, great, but they'd started already running into problems there. It was coming end of life, which is something that a lot of us facing modernization challenges, that'll be a trigger word. And also the experience just didn't work for them. So they needed to sort this out. And what that experience not working actually meant is that you had frustrated employees. You had a process that was taking days to complete rather than what should be in terms of hours or minutes. And it really wasn't working for them. So what did we manage to do? While keeping the core system in place, we managed to come in and help them with this problem of they'd already felt like they'd solved part of it with personas, but the technology wasn't coming right. They needed to fix the experience. We managed to deliver that within the first project within 6 weeks. It was rolled out and then plugged through in the final 8 weeks. And what does it mean to them? All right, so they had a user experience that was still plugging into SAP, still using all of the core data there, so all of the backend reporting was working well. But they'd managed to reduce dramatically, on average 60% time savings. But sometimes there were 5-day processes that they managed to get down to, I think it was 6 or 7 minutes. Now, that's great from a system perspective, so what for the business? Well, the employees, the staff that were working out, they could focus on their core capabilities, which was about delivering value back to those external assets, the shopping centers or the buildings that were being managed, and not let the system get in their way. So this was really great and a great outcome without having to go and break apart or shoehorn into their very high investment SAP core system, but still being able to integrate it.
Okay, talking about the national regulator, this is a fairly large organization looking after safety of critical infrastructure. Ultimately, I think the government feel they need to keep the public safe and need to make sure that it's done to a standard. So they create these regulators to look after these infrastructure pieces. So this particular one, they had a system that was about 10 years old. And it was built over various iterations, starting with old .NET technology, and then later versions of .NET on top of that. They tried to add a web interface, so they added some Java to that, and various coding languages over that 10-year period. Whilst that was happening, the older technologies that they used started to be deprecated. And they found themselves in a space where all the technology is pretty much end of life, if not already end of life. And the developers that worked on those have moved on, and they had a fairly good system doing what they needed to do. However, there was no way of maintaining it. A lot of the intellectual property has left the organization, and just the skills basically to maintain that was not there anymore. And also because of that legacy software platforms that they use, software and products they used, it was very difficult to add and expand to that. So why did they decide to rebuild? They knew that they had a product that was fit for purpose. All the users was really happy with what they had. It was delivering the functionality that they needed. They also had this issue with bad experiences with the traditional code which they experienced previously. So they already attempted a couple of times to modernize this without success. That's where the web front ends came from, and the different technologies. So they knew they needed a different approach to this. But probably another issue which is often seen in government organizations, and people are reluctant to change. They stick to what they know. So the users didn't want a new interface. So we helped them to rebuild that same solution in a modern platform, accelerated by AI. Like I mentioned, it was about a 6-month process, to give them the exact functionality that they had, maybe a slightly cleaner interface, but everything, the look and feel was familiar. The users didn't need to go through large change processes. So we preserved all of that functionality whilst getting it onto a modern platform, which will stay current. And now they can accelerate that modernization with the help of these AI tools to get the improvements and changes that they would like to move their organization into the future. That brings us to Coates. So Coates, like I said, you may know them as Coates Hire. They changed their name not too long ago, but basically they're an organization that hire out tools, anything from size 10 spanner all the way to large mining machines that does pretty much anything you want to do. So we got engaged with their industrial services division, and what they basically do is they take a container full of tools to mine sites or large industrial areas, and when the plants get shut down, they get extra people into the site to do these plant maintenance, but that requires additional tools. So the users would walk up to these container tool stores, and they would rent out the tools that they require to do their job. Now, about 25 years ago, Coates created this application called Chase, which at the time was quite revolutionary, where people can scan their tools in and out, and obviously the customer get billed for what was taken. But the problem with that was it was all local to that actual container. So each container had a physical PC sitting inside that thing, and you can just imagine from an IT manager point of view what it would be like if you literally have a pseudo server in a container on a mining site where there's dust and chances of being bumped and dropped and everything, and all the accounting that you need to keep to build a customer for the tools you take, even though which tools have been taken, is reliant on that single piece of equipment. Further to that, if there was larger sites, a second container might be delivered. The second container has its own system, and they were siloed. So the one solution would not know about the other solution. And then on top of that, across different sites, users would use the software slightly differently. So there's no standard methods in doing this. Now, as this software started to age, some other problems started to come into the picture, like the scanners got outdated. There was simply no scanners on the market that you can buy that was still compatible with the old software, and Coates needed to buy secondhand scanners just to keep their operations going. And likewise with printers in the solution, etc. So it really became a big problem to maintain that. So in their case, it was really important. It was evident that they needed to rebuild this. They wanted to move to the cloud, and get rid of this single instance situation. They wanted a cloud solution that allows multiple instances to work simultaneously and homogeneously across the enterprise. Also to standardize on those processes to make sure that everyone is using it in the same way, which also then enables the reporting on top of that. This was also a competitive advantage to them. So they obviously have competitors in their industry, and some of the people, some of their competitors started doing things faster and better than they were able to, so they needed to keep up with the competition. And what they had was simply not fit for purpose anymore. So they tried to buy something off the shelf, but they simply couldn't find anything that met all their requirements. So replacing it completely was the obvious way to go. And they got some vendors to quote on this work, and most of them said it would be about a 3-year delivery time frame. But with the acceleration that we got through the OutSystems platform and the AI acceleration, we were able to do it for them in about 12 months. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So, and I'm glad you closed off with that. Thank you, Jacques. So, those stories are really powerful, and to an extent, on the surface, you might say, "All right, great. That's a great rebuild. Where's the AI in here, and how are we seeing the AI effect?" So, really, where it comes from is there is a better way of executing on these type of projects nowadays, and even more and more with the AI capabilities coming in, accelerating. So this is often about time. It's about doing it in a quicker sense, but time has a ton of effect. It also means there's less impact on your resources. The cost is then usually lower. Your time to market in terms of staying ahead or abreast with competitive aspects that you need is so important. So how do we do this? And when we talk about it, what is it? So we showed you that great Project Morpheus video earlier, which talks about the development speed. Now, something I wanted to say here is when you're taking a platform approach like you are with OutSystems, there's so many opportunities to accelerate and to implement these kind of capabilities to speed things up. You saw the development side there. That development aspect, to be clear, has been building for 7 years already inside the platform. So there certainly wasn't, oh, great, OpenAI are doing some interesting stuff. Now it's time to quickly jump and bring it in. That thinking and that capability has been there for years already, and we're just seeing it accelerating even more. So some of the names you're seeing on the screen is now talking about, other than the top one, which is that AI Code Mentor, which is helping professional developers to do their work and think about their patterns quicker. All the other points below that actually have to do with other aspects that are really important for executing these types of large legacy modernization drives. Everything from architecture mentor, which is continuously looking at the architecture of what can be quite complex solutions that you're building here, making sure that you're not implementing bad patterns, or maybe a pattern that you'd put in before in terms of how you built a part of the solution isn't appropriate for now, how you're going to innovate and how you're going to expand out. Same with security. Security is so topical. Well, how do we use AI recognition to take a look at the applications, look at how they're designed, and identify security issues much quicker in a much sharper way, and give you this potential solutions back as well. Same with Performance Mentor, so important as we expand our footprints and as we have a much higher expectation around customer and employee experience based on the underlying performance. Having a Performance Mentor, seeing in the real time how these things are tracking and taking a look at that. But again, bringing intelligent patterns to how do we increase, how do we improve this performance capability. And the maintainability side is actually really important. And I just want to throw you back to the GPT example. It was great to solve that first problem, but GPT since carried on and expanded out some of the capabilities in that use case, but brought in a whole lot of other use cases, some of which are interacting with each other. And that is part of legacy modernization as well. So making sure that as you grow out your footprint, your portfolio of the solution, that it's maintainable, that you're keeping it adaptable, and that you're not just automatically creating the new legacy is another really powerful part of the AI patterns that are coming into this platform approach, which is well tested and well proven. You'll see we haven't spoken here about AI-powered experiences. That's all great, bringing in chatbots and LLMs and image recognition. Absolutely, we're keen to run a separate webinar on that. We've done some other content already, so please, happy to bring that in. This is really about delivering out those capabilities. So again here, it's about the build side, but it's also about the maintain, the plan, the feedback elements as well, and leveraging all of the inherent capabilities of a visual enterprise high performance platform to build this all together. So thank you for taking the time to hear us out. We'd always love more time. We have a ton of passion. We've probably overrun even by 5 minutes or so from where we would have liked to. But what we want to say is that if we go back to the opening parts, what this really means is that you can have the house you want, you can have that outcome that you're looking for by modernizing what you have, by renovating, by refactoring, by replacing, and by leveraging the true power of AI and really practical powers of that AI capability accelerated into trusted modern platform. And we're really keen to help you figure out the best way. So we really encourage you to reach out. We've just scratched the surface here. Allow us to come in, share more stories. I'm sure you might have tons of questions on what we've spoken about already, either on the technical or the customer story side. We've got a lot to talk about and guide you on as you're looking about around assessing the best way forward, and even showing you some of this in action. Really keen. So thank you very much, and thank you, Jacques.
Thank you very much, Charles. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Good. So I'll pause there for any questions that might have come through that are worth asking, or if not, we're also happy to take them offline and respond back to the group afterwards. Julia, Patty, anything? Okay. Sorry, Julia. All right, we have a raised hand. I'm not sure if we can put the audio through. This is MJ. Oh, okay. I think we got a raised hand, but I'm not sure if we can.
Yeah, I think the audio is blocked.
Yeah, if you could type the question into the QA box, that'd be great, and then Julia will read it through to us.
Yeah, alternatively, we can just reach out to you directly afterwards.
Yes. Okay, here's MJ. MJ, if you wanted to open your audio, you're welcome to.
Excellent, thank you. Just a quick one.
Yes.
One of the things that we're looking at doing is implementing AI, hopefully into our ERP data lake, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you go back to one of your slides in the pack, I think it was the second last slide, or around what AI could do.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah. The AI performance mentor. One of the things that we're looking at doing is within our data lake, being able to define what our key metrics or KPIs are, so we know what we want to achieve strategically in the long term and the short term, and hopefully train the AI to let us know, looking at our historical data, how far we are, if we're on track to reach our KPIs, or if we're going in the wrong direction and we need to make a U-turn.
Excellent. Thank you, MJ. And I think you're capturing the spirit there of performance across multiple parts of the organization. So definitely what you're talking about there is really being able to use your internal data as a source of training and information and inspection by LLM model, well, maybe not LLM, but actually targeted learning models that can take a look at that, pick up patterns in the data, and even with blending in more information and suggesting that back. So absolutely, there's some really interesting capabilities there, and the platform can plug into it. I would say here for this slide, when we talk about Performance Mentor, this is really about powering the delivery teams that are building out these legacy modernization solutions to check the physical performance of the applications that are being built, and using AI patterns to pick up better approaches on how to optimize the performance of the solution, maybe picking up infrastructure needs to improve that, potentially picking up device or integration patterns that need to be improved. In this context, that's where Performance Mentor comes into making sure that you're building really high quality applications. But MJ, of course, we always love having conversations with you. We've had some really good ones. We're excited about your journey there. So let's chat more about how you actually bring that performance mindset from AI into your data sets to allow you to assess from a business performance perspective how to improve. Thank you. Any other
Thank you.
questions? Yeah, thank you, MJ.
I think that's it, Sean.
Okay, good. Well, thank you, everyone. As always, we try and make these webinars useful and efficient, because part of the problem we talk about is your precious time, which is one of the things we like to help address. So we're really grateful for the 35-40 minutes you've spent with us. Please reach out, and we're keen to have discussions with you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you to the team for setting this up, and looking forward to joining you on the next one. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, MJ. Bye.